Welcome, my darling pretties, to our Beyond the Dawn of Business podcast for pretty, empowered female entrepreneurs. It's time to step into your power, pretties. Lift each other, support the squad, and choose a life filled with the autonomy and freedom to live your dreams. I'm your host, Dawn Beth, owner and founder of Beyond the Dawn digital business brand and agency. My coffee is hot and my eyelashes are on, so we are ready to go. Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today I'm going to talk to you about podcasting, which is a bit weird because it's a podcast about a podcast, but it's important, and I want everybody to know about the power of podcasting and just how wonderful it is for your business. If you haven't considered podcasting, please may I lovingly suggest that you definitely consider it and have a look at your digital marketing strategy and see if you can add it in. Because in 2024, you might be thinking that the whole market is saturated and it's not worth doing, but it's still actually one of the most fast-paced way of you being able to share your messaging with your people in such a delightful way. So we've had this podcast now for quite a long time and we've organically grown it. And I must admit, we folded it in a little bit like baking a cake. We folded it in like a little bit of vanilla extract. Our major batter when it came to digital marketing was in other things. We had the eggs, we had the flour, they were the main ingredients, and we just threw podcasting in as a little bit of extra something to give another angle to our opportunities for visibility. And genuinely, I kind of thought it would be fun from a point of view of self-expression, because I love, this is one of the things that really I dig about having an excuse to show up like this in terms of marketing your business. It gives me an opportunity to self-express, and I love it. Like when I write my articles, when I write anything, when I make my funny videos, when we do our socials, it gives us an opportunity to share our light, to share our heart. And for me, for some reason, that's really, really integral to who I am as a person. It massively changes the way I experience life and the amount of joy that I experience in life. So it just was a no-brainer for me that we would do podcasting. I also had a couple of people who said that they really enjoyed my voice and that they thought it was quite relaxing, which it probably isn't because I'm talking a mile a minute today, but sometimes it can be. And I just thought, well, why not? I also had a teacher once that told me that I had a face for radio, so why not try audio and give audio a go? And I must say that it's been one of the most surprising elements of our business practices out of everything that we've done ever. And I think one of the reasons why that is because we did not layer it with expectation. And in anything when it comes to business, if you can find a way not to layer it with too much expectation, you're going to find things easier, because you're just setting yourself up for disappointment trifle. And with this, we really didn't. We were really curious. We explored. We were flexible. We were fluid. There were times that a podcast didn't go out and I didn't sweat it. Although you will, if you was to look through all of our episodes, you'll see that we are really quite consistent and active. Almost every single week, there is an episode, and sometimes we'll do extras, which then, goes above. But in truth, the great thing about the podcast is that it almost immediately, had its own identity, had its own fan base, had its own area of our digital marketing, something that I perhaps might not have been able to conjure. It took on a life of its own quite quickly. And now a massive percent of the people that work with us find us through this podcast. And that has been incredible. Some of the experiences that we've had, some of the pitches that we've done, some of the work that we've created in the last couple of years would not have been possible had we have not been available on this medium. And as podcasting guests go, I'm really quite rubbish. I've not been on many, and I intend to correct that. That's one of the things that I'm going to focus on in 2024. But I haven't actually been on many, and I don't often invite people onto mine. It's more of a solo podcast. That's not to say that I won't do more of that, because again, I love it and I enjoy it. But it just shows you that even with just me speaking to you in this way, still been incredibly powerful, and it's still supported you in a different way. So, I mean, one of the things that I really love about podcasting, and I love sharing this when I teach podcasting to clients, you may not realize it, but podcasting is one of those excellent add on activities for busy people. And my ideal clients, my pretties, you're busy. You're busy in your mind, you're probably busy physically, you've got a million and one things to do, you've got lots of opportunities to listen to, a lot of gurus online, and you choose me in the background whilst you're walking your dog or washing your dishes or putting a load of laundry on or anything. You might be at the gym right now. You might be driving somewhere. You might be working. You might be doing a ton of social media posts. And you could be doing anything at all. And I might just be in the background. I might just be that constant background hum, like the radio, but a radio that you can listen to and gain something from and have a aha moment with, that you can binge hundreds of episodes. And I am seeping, whether you recognize it or not, to some degree into your subconscious. Not in an offensive way, not in a barge way. I'm not barging my way in. I'm not being aggressive. You don't have to listen to me. It's a total conscious choice on your behalf, but it's enjoyable. And I'm here with you. I'm in the room with you. And that's special. And yet, video is great. And podcast video is very powerful. And I'll do another podcast on that a different day. But when you are doing something visually, you are demanding more than one sense. You're demanding the eyes, you're demanding the ears, you're asking somebody to actively stop doing other things to be able to give their attention to you. And with attention spans being at an all-time low, that isn't always the most productive. Tiny little snippets and things that are incredibly interesting and things that will allow your audience to fully focus will still serve their purpose and be very poignant. But audio in this medium allows for people to truly embrace what you're saying to them without that same level of commitment. You're not derailing them from the things that they need to do. If anything, you're enhancing their experience whilst they're doing something else, particularly if it's something boring like mowing the lawn or washing up. I hate washing up. I've mentioned it twice. Or hoovering or any of those things. It might be cooking dinner, although cooking can be quite enjoyable. The powerful element of podcasting that lots of people kind of overlook as well is that out of all of the things that we create as businesses that are free resources, it's probably one of the most powerful and fast moving at being able to be monetized. The level of criteria for monetizing a podcast is much lower than, for instance, trying to find a brand deal or going ahead and trying to find somebody to sponsor a social media post or for you to create user generated content for somebody. It's not to say that those things are difficult. They are not difficult, and we should all be doing them because they're fabulous additional sources to income and they help good businesses be seen far and wide. But podcasting does all of that and allows you to get to that monetization marker far quicker, with less effort, with less skill and expertise. And when it comes to all of the things that you can be doing in your business that actually support you in visibility, it's one of the cheapest in terms of investment, both in time and financial aspects too. So it really can be incredibly powerful. So over the last kind of week, I have introduced a podcasting course that I actually brought out as a Black Friday offer last year. And I am going through systematically and supporting people in building up their podcasts. And it is incredible talking to people about what it is that they want to do and what it is that they want to achieve. And I can see the pathway and how easy that pathway is going to be. So exciting. And I really would love for you to consider where you sit on this. Like, how do you feel about this? Is this something that you would love to do in your business? Is it something that you think you could find the time for? What's the thing that's obstructing you from doing it? What stops you from thinking that this would be viable? Really explore those feelings for me. Because when we had this moment, this early adoption moment of visibility when it came to Instagram, and Instagram's a fantastic example. The people who jumped on Instagram at the perfect moment are the people now that are sat with hundreds of thousands of followers, making 200, 300, 400,000 pounds a month on a membership that they spend an hour a week in or whatever. Probably not even an hour a week, an hour a month. And that's because they figured out that actually this is really powerful. I'm going to get on this wave before it peaks. And that's where podcasting is now. The people who got onto TikTok 3 years ago, don't get me wrong, you can still grow on TikTok. It's an amazing platform and it's still got a lot of growth in it. But being an early adopter, taking the risk and getting into things before they've really boomed can be absolutely wonderful for your business. And like I say, in terms of ease, talking and recording yourself talking about important elements that are there in your mind anyway, things that you would create freebies from or write emails from or share social media from, it's very similar. So if you're already in that mindset where you're considering the things that you want to talk about and what's important to you in terms of your mission, what's important to you in terms of your core values, what things are helpful for the people that you want to attract into your business and life, then you're already in a great place to start a podcast. Now, I think I probably will run this podcast course again. I might even turn it into an evergreen. I'm still considering. How's that for a level of honesty and vulnerability? I really do think it's powerful. So have a little think to yourself and figure out if that's something you want to do, and maybe have a look at your strategy and see where you could fit that in. Because if you're absolutely certain that you want to do it, and that you think it could be beneficial, I 100% would love to help you to achieve that. And here's some of my top tips. Here's my top tips to help you with that if that's something that you really want to go ahead and do. First and foremost, I love recording things on Zoom when I'm training kind of like courses, when I'm training like boot camps, courses, masterclasses, that type of thing. But I really love a system called Riverside when I'm doing podcasting. Lots of other ones as well, but I really like that one. You don't have to have a really expensive microphone. Get yourself a mini Yeti or something similar. Have a little look online and get yourself a microphone that will allow for crisp recording quality and allow it to be. Also, recognize your business, recognize your style. There's been loads of podcasts that we've helped when we've managed podcasts for our clients because we do that as well. And we've been doing that for years now. There's loads of podcasts where actually all of the natural sounds in the background are a conscious decision. And it adds something to it. It actually gives you a little bit of something extra. And sometimes the things will ping in the studio here, and I'll think, oh, it's fine. Because you know where I am, you can envision where I am and where you're listening to me from. It doesn't matter. It's truthful. It's honest. It's organic. It's authentic. You don't have to worry. So think about that. Like, do you really need for the audio to be absolutely crisp, super, super? And then also think about how you want to do it, because we have found two key styles in podcasting. I use podcasting as a bit of a dear diary, and I really like to do it once a month or a couple of times a month, depending on how I feel, and just pop in and do the podcast and record it in the moment. But also, and I have done this before, also we have a lot of clients that like to come in and record a batch and they'll know exactly what they want to talk about, and they'll come in and they'll sit down in our lovely podcasting room, which I absolutely adore it when people use it, because it's often empty, and we use it, of course, but when people come in and they spend a couple of days in there, I just adore it because they love the quality of the sound, they feel comfortable, becomes a home from home, and they get really exceptional results. So what's your style? Would you batch or would you do it on the fly? Like, how would you feel about that? And explore that feeling as well. Don't underestimate the power of tone. Do not underestimate the power of somebody being able to fully understand you and embrace you and comprehend you better when they can hear the tone in your voice, because it is so powerful. And remember that people have things like Apple Music and Spotify on apps already on their phones. They're already using them. And many people are already using them for podcasts. So you have the opportunity to put yourself on two of the most powerful auditory apps out there that have been downloaded millions of times. So there really is an opportunity here for visibility that you may not have recognized. It's not just a nice to have anymore, it's a real staple of our digital marketing. And also, it's absolutely fantastic for repurposing and using in other elements of your marketing as well. It's what we would consider to be long form content, and it can give people the opportunity to binge your content. Like, you can listen to this podcast now and go and download and do lots and lots and lots of other episodes all in one sitting very, very easily, because there's playlists and they're all there for you. And there is, on our podcast, there are hundreds of episodes for you to go back, all have different little nuggets of value. So there's so much to go through and enjoy. So imagine that and have a think about that, and really do consider if that's something that would work for you. I would suggest that for most of you, it would be really, really powerful. And if you haven't already, please do rate this podcast. I very rarely ask, and if you're a constant listener, if you listen every week, you'll know that I very rarely ask you to do this. But I would love, love, love if you could download our episodes, because it shows that you're listening to them. Download them so that you've got them offline, keep them on your devices so that you can listen to them again, especially the most valuable ones. And especially on Apple Music, if you're listening on Apple Music, please do give us a review. Please give us a star rating and let me know in the group what other things you would like to hear from us, because we're always open to other suggestions. I want to give you the things that support you. I want to be able to help you. And it's been a long time since I asked for reviews, but I'm going to go ahead and ask, because our podcast is getting real amazing traction right now, and you could just support us to a point where it just pushes us over. We are so happy with the podcast, and it's definitely something that we're going to be concentrating even more of our focused attention on in 2024. And just a big thank you for listening. And remember that every time that you've listened and you've enjoyed one of our episodes, that could be something you provide for somebody else. And if you're smiling at your phone or your radio right now, thinking, oh, Dawney's asked for a review, she's cheeky, that one, or whatever, you could provide that feeling, that moment of emotion, or that thought that I've just created in you. You can do the exact same thing for your people, and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And most importantly, it's really impactful for your business and your business opportunities in the future. So explore it. It's a good one to consider. All right, my darlings, have a wonderful week, and I will speak to you next time.
If you're loving our Pretty podcast, come on over to Social Pretties, our online safe house and sisterhood community. It's a safe space where female entrepreneurs connect and thrive in a warm, welcoming fold of pretty amazing women. You'll find an easy redirect in the description, and I can't wait to see you in there. And depending on where you're listening right now, we would love it if you would click subscribe or follow so that you can be the first to know when our new podcasts come out.